Damage from flames has been increased significantly, and since I made my last flamethrower video, I actually have never run into a flamethrower personally, so I'm going to make another one that is a little bit more straightforward of how to make really effective and hilariously deadly flamethrowers. There are two chemicals we're going to be focusing on. I'll explain three just for completion's sake. The big one is napalm. Napalm, what's the effect of it? It does some damage, but the main thing is it increases flammability. Napalm is also very easy to make. The only thing you have to actually find is a welding fuel. Next, we also are going to care about ClF3 or chlorine trifluoride. And the effect of that, again, is it increases flammability, but it actually sets people on fire. Seems to be blazing is actually the most useful text out of this one, even though that's flavor text. Flog is also something that directly says it'll catch you on fire. So we want to make flog next, but you need to make the sulfuric acid first, otherwise you're going to end up making dexalin. So we're just going to make some sulfuric acid, which is 2 parts oxygen, 1 part hydrogen, and 1 part sulfur. And we could just go back in the guidebook if we ever forget. We need even parts phosphorus, and we're going to need some ground up plasma. 1 piece of plasma is 10 units, so we need to grind up 2. It's an uneven mixture, but that doesn't really matter that much, especially if you have a chem master. And being uneven here honestly doesn't really matter. This is the problem with making flog. You make visible plasma, which is going to set off air alarms. It's going to be noticeable to anyone around, especially if you're in chemistry. And just from my experience in general, from what I've seen with flog, is it gets you caught more often. If you know what ClF3 is extraordinarily explosive. ClF3 is just 1 part chlorine to 3 parts fluorine, but it explodes the second you do that. There's a way around this. We can just take some chlorine in 1 beaker, and literally we could do as little as 3 fluorine, and we just want to get a jug and put it, just be 1 tile away from it. This is all you have to do. Make sure it's not near anything like that will be bad if it explodes. You could damage wires, but especially if you're doing this as like a syndicate or a revolutionary, you don't want to be anywhere near anyone when you do this. Just go to a random room of maintenance and mix it. But you do need a jug because jugs don't take damage. Beakers do explode. So we just dump the chlorine in there and we'll dump the fluorine. It'll explode, but if you're nowhere near it, it doesn't hurt you at all. And then you can just take the ClF3, you'll have 4 units of it, and put it back in a beaker. So that is literally all you need to make ClF3, and ClF3 on its own will set people on fire. I'm not even going to waste time with that. I'm just going to show you what to mix it with in order to make a super, super deadly flamethrower. We'll just keep that beaker off to the side. Just remember this is the ClF3. Now we need to make napalm, and we need to make as much as we possibly can, especially if you're going to be using something like a spray nozzle. Anyways, it's 1 part oil, fuel, and ethanol together. In order to make oil, we need welding fuel, hydrogen, and carbon. So we could just do 30 at a time, so just do 10 welding fuel, 10 hydrogen, and 10 carbon. And let's just re-look at the napalm recipe to make sure we don't mess it up. We need 30 ethanol, which, again, if you just have a chem dispenser, this stuff is very easy. And we just need to get 30 units from the welding tank. We could make a little bit more napalm, but even without a chem master, you don't need a chem master at all for this. This will let you get 10 shots of extraordinarily dangerous water gun or fire extinguisher, or from the backpack nozzle. If you're using the backpack nozzle, obviously you're going to want more than 90 napalm, but these 2 beakers, 1 chem dispenser, 1 fuel tank is enough to make an extraordinarily deadly flamethrower. We'll just start with the fire extinguisher. You can find them anywhere. I made sure to empty this one. Just all you have to do is put the ClF3 in there and put all of the napalm in there until you either fill it up or run out of chemicals. Then this is the fire stacks view variables. This person is full HP. If I just take it out and make sure the safety's off and click in their direction, it ignites them on fire with almost 4 fire stacks. That is an extraordinary amount of damage. By the time they hit 3 fire stacks without stop, dropping, and rolling, they are already beyond critical. And at this point, if nobody puts them out, they basically will keep burning while dead and take a ridiculous amount of heat damage, and that's only at 1 spray from a fire extinguisher. If you're further away, you won't set them on fire as much. But if you remember, we put 94 units in this fire extinguisher, and just to show you, so with 94 units, we actually have 10 shots. So you can essentially set 10 different people on fire, or set 1 person really on fire to make sure they basically die. This does lose some value when you run up against people with flame-resistant suits, like hard suits, fire suits, Atmos fire suits, you name it. You can still heavily ignite them on fire with the same amount of flame stacks, but they do take less damage, even with an Atmos fire suit, which is very fire resistant. One spray is still enough that you're going to force them to stop, drop, and roll, which in fights takes you completely out of the fight because you can't shoot or do anything while you're on the ground. It also forces you to drop whatever's in your hand. So that's really powerful. And if you just spray them 2 or 3 times, even with very fire resistant gear, they're still going to burn to death. You would actually do more damage to a blood red than you would with somebody in that fire suit just by using the fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher obviously puts you at some risk. So that's something worth considering as well. And now here's the other recipe I'd recommend trying as well if you just don't want to risk an explosion, is 1 Flog, 99 Napalm. In case if you have the backpack water tank, you're probably just going to want to obviously and if you have the backpack water tank, just multiply those values by 10 because it holds 1,000 instead of 100, like the water blaster. So the water blaster and fire extinguisher have the same capacity. The water pistol only has 50. You can get water guns from cargo. You can get fire extinguishers from basically any fire. You can get fire extinguishers from fire extinguisher cabinets, and science can make the spray nozzle. Also, nukies do actually spawn with this, so nukies might want to start utilizing flamethrowers as well. I'll show you the fire stacks with the Flog and Napalm. So one shot with Flog and Napalm is actually not even enough to crit somebody who isn't stop, dropping, and rolling. I mean, it does do a ton of damage, but neither one of them is capable of critting in just one shot, and if they stop, drop, and roll, they're not going to take that much damage, so you need to make sure you hit them with more than a few projectiles, which these water guns only have 10 shots each, but the spray nozzle, you could probably kill at least a dozen or so people without needing to refill your chems. It just has such a large capacity. So this is a quick comparison. So the top is 1 unit of Flog and 99 units of Napalm, and the bottom is 1 unit of CLF3 and 99 Napalm. Interestingly enough, they actually both pretty much do the same amount of fire stacks. They both do about just shy of 2. So as you can see, that was 2, and shoot them again. They both do like identical fire stacks and both do basically the same damage. It is up to you of which method you want to start with. CLF3's benefits is that it doesn't require plasma, but you will make an explosion, and you kind of need a jug for it or something else that doesn't explode. Like, I think a soda can would even work. But for Flog, you will make a ton of plasma in the atmosphere. It is very loud, especially if you're not doing it in maintenance. You could do it in maintenance. And it will set off air alarms if you're doing it somewhere with air alarms, so that's another big risk. But it doesn't destroy wires or the floor, and it's not loud. So it's up to you which one you want to pick, and napalm's very easy to make as well. There's no detection method to it, just don't have somebody walk in on you literally making napalm. The water blasters have 3 shots per second fire rate and shoot full auto. The water pistols only hold 50 units, shoot slower, and are semi-auto. And then the spray nozzle's crazy. It holds 1,000 units, shoots 4 shots a second, and is full auto. So if I just get like the CLF3 mixture and just spray into somebody, you can immolate them to the point that even if they stop, drop, and roll, they have no chance. And this will end up doing so much damage that you essentially permakill them. Killing people with fire weapons right now is extremely nasty due to how much damage it does. He's not even close to done burning. He's already taken well over 400. They basically become unhealable unless you want to spend 5 people like 10 minutes with a shit ton of regenerative mesh trying to heal them. Also, like, even if you step on them, you don't catch on fire. Like, on fire dead people just like become uninteractable. Like, if I spawn a real fire extinguisher, I still can't put them out. That's just how crazy that is. And yeah, they're at 1,000 burning and still burning. So this is practically a perma-killing method. So you absolutely do not want to be making these weapons unless you're fighting against nukies, are an tag yourself, or I don't even know. Like, revolutionaries probably don't even want to use this because you may end up perma-killing somebody that could have been converted. Their flame weapons are extremely dangerous, and that's probably for a good reason. And just as a final, this is how strong flame weapons are. So if I just shoot them with like 2 shots in a completely spaced room, I waited for it to be completely spaced. Even the vacuum of space is not enough to extinguish the flames in any reasonable time just due to how slow Atmos transfers. So yeah, flamethrowers are extremely dangerous even in 0 oxygen environments, which is kind of interesting on its own. But anyways, that's pretty much all I got. You can listen to the dead dude roast for a few seconds as, I don't know, weird ASMR. And thank you for watching.